Hey, what is up everybody? It's Connor here from Geek on Your Face, and welcome to another Yugioh Best Decks video. Today we're going to be going over a pretty fun deck, and I like it a lot at least. It's going to be a Prophecy Spellbook deck. Now, Prophecy Spellbook decks actually are pretty decent. This one in particular, I got it from, most of the time I usually kind of go and get ideas and stuff from a whole bunch of different places, and then I kind of combine them with my own thing. This deck, however, is it's a fourth place deck. I can't remember from where, but it is a pretty decent deck, so I hope you guys like it. A lot of the Spellbook cards can get kind of like confusing with all the effects that they do and stuff like that, so I'm not going to be going over like exactly what they do all the time every time. So you guys are just going to have to go look at the Spellbook cards for yourself and read them and really get the hang of what they do. Because we're not really going to be, in the recipe portion, I'm not going to be going over every effect, because that would probably turn this into like a 15-minute video, which is too long in my opinion for a Yu-Gi-Oh video. So anyway, we're just going to be trying to crush Yugi as fast as we can. Spellbook decks are a little bit on the slow side, with focuses on recovery and reusing and like recycling spell cards and stuff like that. So it's basically just going to be taking advantage of cards that you're putting in your graveyard and using effects to continue to get effects, if that makes sense. There's cards in here that will you know, banish your Spellbook cards so that you can be able to use that effect, and then there's cards in here that bring your banished Spellbook cards back in your hand. So that's the main focus of a Spellbook deck. It's kind of recycling cards and getting powerful monsters out on the field with the effects of those cards. Like here we're going to use Temperance of Prophecy. Whenever you use a Spellbook card earlier in your turn, you can tribute him and special summon one level 5 or higher light or dark spellcaster type monster from your deck. So we're obviously going to get our most powerful monster, World of Prophecy. That lets us, you know, the main focus of the deck, right? It lets us recycle cards, which is very, very useful in a Spellbook deck. It's obviously the main focus of the deck, as well as being a pretty powerful monster in and by itself, 2900. And you can reveal 4 Spellbook cards from your hand, and you can basically get rid of every other card on the field, which is really awesome. This deck really needs nukes like that, so nuking cards obviously being stuff that destroys mass amount of cards on the field, that being where nuking comes from. So it's not a card that you really want to open up with a lot of times. It's like kind of a mid-game sort of card when, you know, you're kind of almost down and out, and this is going to be like your opponent's field is set up. You're going to just destroy everything, all of his progress that he's made on his side of the field, and then you're going to be able to open it up and start swarming with your own types of monsters. And that's really what this deck needs. It needs to have an open field. It needs to have the advantage almost the whole time, so you can't really fall behind in a Spellbook deck, in my opinion at least. You know, there's a lot of different ways to build a Spellbook deck. You can do it so that you can go for incredible aggro, a Spellbook of power, just power up your monsters, all that kind of stuff, or you can go really safe. This deck is more on the safe side, so you need to be kind of conservative with your cards. You need to pick the right moment to kind of go in for it, but it also doesn't punish you too much if you pick the wrong moment, which is probably bound to happen when you're learning a deck like this. And it's kind of hard for me. I don't want to say this is like a cop-out, but when I'm making a deck, every day it's a different deck. I don't really have the time to get good at one specific deck, right? Because I gotta make a deck, I gotta record the deck, and then I have to come here and gotta voice over the deck. So I don't have a lot of time to really practice with it as much as I would like to. But I definitely think that a Spellbook deck is a deck that I'm going to be picking up and actually learning a lot more in depth in my spare time, because it's a pretty fun deck. I like spell cards just in general. They're really fitting my style properly, which is what you want to do when you're picking a deck that you're thinking of, you know, you're going to main or whatever. You want to have a deck that fits your natural style. Because even if you go with something that's incredibly competitive, like a Fire Fist or something like that, or Infernities, if it's not your type of deck, you're probably not going to do too well at it unless you practice a whole bunch and learn up all the matchups that it has. But if something came up naturally, you know, it's naturally your type of deck, then you're not going to have to put so much effort into it to be good with it, right? It just makes sense. So here we're going to be using some of the effects of our spell cards to start swarming the field now that we've gotten rid of most of the cards on his side of the field. We're going to be getting Temperance of Prophecy, World of Prophecy, and our High Priestess of Prophecy. So we got some pretty high attack power monsters on here. And what you can do, this deck has some level modifiers that can be happening with it. So you do have a lot of options in your XYZ and your extra deck point of your deck, right? You have a lot of different ways that you can go with it. There's definitely a lot of options. It does kind of suck when you draw World of Prophecy, because unlike High Priest of Prophecy, it doesn't have quick from hand special summon. High Priest of Prophecy, not the worst. That's actually kind of good to be able to draw High Priestess of Prophecy, but you really want to use Temperance of Prophecy to get out your World of Prophecy. That's going to be the best way to get it out. So there we go, we were never really in any danger during that entire duel, but in the recipe portion, I'm just going to say the amount of cards I have. I'm not really going to go over the effects because that would take forever. We have one High Priestess of Prophecy, and then we have one Justice of Prophecy. We have 3 Spellbook Magicians of Prophecy, 3 Temperance of Prophecy, 2 World of Prophecy, and then coming up we have 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, 3 Potter Dualities, 3 Spellbook Library of the Crescent. We have 2 Spellbook of Eternities, 1 Spellbook of Fate, 1 Spellbook of Life, 1 Spellbook of Power, 3 Spellbook of Secrets, 2 Spellbook of the Master, 1 Spellbook of Wisdom, and 2 the Grand Spellbook Tower. We have 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, we have 2 Fiendish Chains, we have 2 Mirror Forces, 1 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, we have 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Torrential Tribute. In the extra deck, we have 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Digesto Emerald, we have 1 Diamond Dire Wolf, we have 1 Empress of Prophecy, we have 1 Gachi Gachi Gentetsu, we have 1 Cowboy, we have 1 Gemnite Pearl, we have 1 Herald of Pure Light, 1 Hierophant of Prophecy, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Drakazak, 1 Big Eye, and 1 Shining Elf. That's going to be it for the Spellbook deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below what you want to see next, and I'll get to it eventually. And goodbye!